Alright my darlings, welcome back to your favourite late night rendezvous. Tonight I'm actually broadcasting from my own little sanctuary right here at home while I'm doing my nails. But honestly, I want you to focus less on my perfectly polished fingertips and more on what I'm about to share with you. This is a truly precious story, something I haven't really opened up about before. Are you ready to hear a little secret from my past? Because trust me, you'll want to lean in for this one. So, picture this. Back when I was just a schoolgirl, in high school, I used to frequent an apartment building. It was a place where older gentlemen, mostly in their 40s and 50s, would gather. They'd collectively rent out an apartment, a private little haven. You see, I couldn't really hide my girls' clothes at home back then, so this was where I'd keep all my dresses, my makeup, everything. It was sort of like a shared room, I suppose, if you can imagine such a thing. A place where they'd secretly gather, transform themselves into women, and then venture out into the city. And that's where I was invited. I remember walking in. The door wasn't one of those sleek, modern ones that just glide open, but one of those old, creaky doors that went as you pushed it open. Can you picture it? That slow, deliberate reveal? And as I stepped inside, it was this incredibly spacious room filled with so many clothes, and the most divine scent of expensive makeup hung in the air. It was truly a delightful place. The very first time I went, it was just myself and one of the gentlemen. Let's call him Mr. A. Mr. A gave me a tour of the room, explaining everything. Then he suggested, "Shall we try a little cross-dressing then?" And he dressed me in clothes from brands I could only dream of owning. The lingerie too, darling. Beautiful, intricate lace pieces, quite sexy. Things I could never have afforded myself. I put on the clothes and then the makeup. Chanel, darling, Chanel. Things that were utterly out of my reach back then. He did my makeup so beautifully and put on a gorgeous, expensive-looking wig. I'd never done anything like it before, this full transformation. And I remember standing in front of this grand full-length mirror, feeling utterly exhilarated. My heart was pounding with excitement. The outfit I wore that day, I think the shirt was white, probably silk, because the fabric felt absolutely divine against my skin. The skirt, now this is interesting, it was a tight long skirt. And the front had a silver zipper, you see, that you could open and close. If you pulled it all the way down, it became this neat, tight shape, what you might call a pencil skirt these days. But if you pulled it up just a little, your leg would appear with every step, a beautiful slit just gliding into view. It was a skirt that could look incredibly elegant, depending on how you styled it. He had me wear that, and he showed me how to walk, how to move. He said, "See, if you pull this zipper up, your leg appears, doesn't it? Isn't it beautiful?" And I just watched, fascinated. Can you imagine the feeling of that fabric, the whisper of movement? Then, he said, "All right, let's sit down for a moment." And as I sat, he explained, "When I sit like this, and then I raise the zipper a little, my leg shows. And this is how a man might slip his hand in. And just like that, his hand glided through the slit, lightly touching my thigh. It sent this thrilling little shiver through me, a feeling of pure anticipation. At that moment, nothing more happened. We just talked about cross-dressing and other things. Oh, and then, he suggested, let's watch a slightly naughty video. You haven't seen one before, have you? And he showed me one. I think it was what you'd call an Euro video back then, an uncensored one, where I saw what a woman's intimate parts truly looked like. He told me, this is how a woman feels good when she's touched in these places, and how a man loves her. And as I watched, my eyes completely captivated, his hand, Mr. A's hand, suddenly slipped into the slit again. This is how a woman, when she lets her guard down, lets a hand slip in, he murmured, and see how your legs open like this? My legs, they naturally parted a little, but then with his gentle push, they opened further, and he kept stimulating my private area. And I couldn't help but feel a little bit good. He even taught me how to moan. "A woman doesn't make that kind of sound," he'd say. Try a higher pitched one. He taught me how to make sounds that would please a man. You'll feel good when I do this here. I think back then, he was teaching me the absolute basics of how someone who cross-dresses, how a woman should behave to please a man during sex. It was an initiation of sorts, all right there. Doesn't that just make your mind race with possibilities? The things you learn when you're young, darling. And at that time, I just came a little right there in Mr. A's hand. But it wasn't about me doing anything to him, or him doing anything further to me. It was purely about me experiencing what it felt like to be loved by a man, as a girl, dressed as a girl. That was my first real lesson in it, and after I came, he gently patted my head, saying, "That felt good, didn't it?" And then, "All right, that's enough for today." He helped me take off my makeup, change back into my clothes, and even walked me to the station. "Come visit again soon, Red Eyes," he said. And that was the end of that day. After that, we kept in touch through online forums and such, and I think it was about a month or two later that I visited him again. The outfit he had me wear that time, it was something like a hostess's dress, a bright orange, very tight, very mini-length lounge dress. My hair was styled in a wavy, permed-looking brown wig, and my makeup was a bit stronger, bolder perhaps. My lips were a deeper colour, drawn a bit larger, a really complete, polished look. And I think I even wore high heels, maybe stilettos? My memory is a little hazy on that. I remember putting on that outfit, and he kept saying how beautiful I looked. And then he handed me a toy. It was shaped like a man's intimate part, and he put a proper condom on it, very mindful of hygiene and such. "This is how you do it," he said, showing me. It was a practice session, darling, a simulation, a practice for how to please a man. I'd never seen anything like it before. This skin-toned, not grey or orange, but very realistic toy. He taught me precisely how to hold it, how to move, how to truly please a man. Back then, I'd never done anything like that myself, and I had no idea such things even existed in the world. So I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Can you imagine the sheer novelty, the innocent confusion of it all? It was utterly bewildering, yet completely captivating. But I was so eager to learn. I tried my best, changing the angle of my face, adjusting how I held it to my mouth, and he'd coach me. "Yes, that's good. Oh no, that's a little off." I worked so hard to master it. I vividly remember acquiring that skill. After that, I think I went to some sort of establishment in that orange dress. "Oh, a new girl," someone said, and he introduced me. I had a quick chat or two, and then we left. I don't remember much more than that, but back then, I was so utterly focused on the idea that I had to learn this method to become a woman. I literally looked up to him as my teacher, and I worked so hard to learn all these things. And you know, after that, I actually returned to that place several more times. I was taught all sorts of interesting things. I even wore a high school girl's uniform, and I was with 3 different gentlemen at once on a few occasions. So, yes, during my high school years, I actually had quite a lot of experience with men. I suppose you could say that when it came to the matters between a man and a woman, I actually gained quite a lot of mature, refined skills from a woman's perspective. Even back then, my high school years were truly a unique education. Well, I think this has been a much more enjoyable video than usual, wouldn't you agree? A little more personal, a little more revealing. I hope you've enjoyed our time together tonight. Oh, and before you go, just a quick reminder. Did you remember to hit that like button, subscribe, join the membership, leave a comment, or share my video on your other social media? Because if you haven't, my darlings, there will be a little punishment waiting for you, and trust me, you wouldn't want to miss what that entails. So make sure you're all caught up and ready for our next rendezvous. Don't forget to tune in for my next video, alright? You won't want to miss it. Good night, my loves. Sleep tight and dream of our next adventure.